I present to you the Giant Crusher, the highest damage weapon in the game. We will go over how to make it deal 400% more damage with only 3 easy steps before each boss fight: Vow, Flame, and Flask. It goes from doing this much damage to doing this much damage. Not only that, we will also have a second build that makes it very easy to use while maintaining high damage. Let's dive in. I feel like the more videos I make, the more my damage numbers go up. I should probably stop. A small note before we dive in: I always put myself in the shoes of the viewers. I want the builds to make sense for you and be easy to use as much as possible. Yeah, we could do 20 hot swaps and deal 50k damage, but I try to find the sweet spot where the build is just right and it's just easy to use. Today, we are diving into one of the most powerful weapons in the game, the Giant Crusher. The Giant Crusher is a colossal weapon that scales primarily with strength. It is accessible as soon as you reach Altus Plateau, which can be very early game. It is found in a chest in the back of a carriage directly south of the Outer Wall Phantom Tree side of Grace. This weapon's damage is very good. At plus 25 heavy, it has 895 AR with 60 strength and 965 AR with 80 strength. At plus 25 occult, this weapon has the highest non-split AR in the game, a staggering 1089 AR. It deals 42 poise damage with a charged heavy. It is only topped by 3 other weapons that deal 45. It has 88 physical guard damage negation, making it very effective for blocking in tight scenarios. Its charge attack will pancake smaller enemies. Very fun to witness. You can change its affinity to whatever you want. A boss is weak to fire, fire affinity. Boss is weak to holy, holy affinity. It has decent hyper armor, meaning you're less likely to be interrupted while attacking. And this weapon can one-shot all the bosses in the game. We are talking 100k plus damage. It is nasty. It is Bunk City out here. We are going to make 2 builds around it. The first pushes the damage to a very high number while not stressing you about doing 20 buffs before every boss. We want that ease of use factor. The second focuses on maximizing the physical and poise damage while having a tanky build to make it also very easy to use. Starting with the first build, max out the Giant Crusher to plus 25 and change its affinity to fire. Apply the Ash of War Royal Knight's Resolve, which buffs the damage of the next hit by 80%. You can find it in this area. For the armor, use the Rakshasa set, which boosts all damage by 8%. It is dropped by Rakshasa in the Eastern Nameless Mausoleum. As a side note, change to a heavier set if you're dying a lot. 8% is not worth it if you're constantly dying. The Finger Seal, buy it from the Twin Maidens. We're gonna use it to cast our spells. As for the talismans, use the Axe Talisman, which increases your charge attack by 10%. It is found in the Mistwood Ruins in Limgrave. Use the Two-Handed Talisman, which increases damage by 15% when two-handing a weapon. It is found in the highest structure in the Temple Town Ruins. Use the Fire Scorpion Charm to increase that fire damage by 12%. It is found in the Fort of Life within Mount Gelmir. And finally, we're gonna make use of the Blade of Mercy, which increases damage by 20% after a critical. It can be found in the Scorched Ruins in the starting area of the DLC. For the spells, use Golden Vow, which increases your damage by 15%. It is found in the Corpse Stench Shack in Mount Gelmir. And Flame Grant Me Strength, which increases fire damage by 20%. It is found behind Fourth Gale. For the physic, we're gonna use the Flame Shrouding Crack tier, plus 20 to fire attacks. It is dropped by the Erdtree Avatar in Kaled, and the Bloodsucking tier, which provides a plus 20% damage increase. It is dropped by the Furnace Golem in the Ruins of Unte. For the stats, spec to 60 Vigor, 10 Mind, 40 Endurance, 80 Strength, 16 Dex, and 25 Faith. Use Morgoth's Great Rune to increase health by 25%. The goal with this this build is to have high stacks of damage with a lot of buffs, especially the fire ones. There are similar tiers and talismans if you want to change to a different element like lightning, holy, or magic. Especially if you're stuck at a boss that is resistant to fire, just do a quick switch and respec to a different element. For the second build, use the Giant Crusher and max it to plus 25. Change its affinity to heavy, and apply the Ash of War Crake Blade, which is found west of the Impassable Great Bridge Site of Grace in Caelid. For the armor, use the Solitude set, which can be obtained after defeating the Black Gale Knight, found inside the Wister Nameless Mausoleum. For the talismans, use the Axe Talisman to increase charge attacks by 10%, found in the Mistwoods in Limgrave. Use the Two-Handed Talisman, which increases damage by 15% when two-handing a weapon, found in the highest structure in Templetown Ruins. Use the Bull Ghost Talisman, which raises your poise by 33%. It is found in the back of Dragon Barrow Cave. Use the Blade of Mercy, which increases damage by 20% after a critical. It is found in the Scorched Ruins in the starting area of the DLC. For your physic, use the Opaline Heart tier to increase all damage negation by 15%. It is dropped by the Urchi Avatar north of 4th Fareth in Caelid. Also use the Stone Barb Crack tier, which increases your stance damage by 30%. However, it only lasts for 30 seconds, so you need to rush in immediately when you use it. It is dropped by the Urchi Avatar near the second minor Urchi in Caelid. Instead of spells for this build, we are going to use a simple Boiled Crab. Increases your physical damage negation by 20%. It can be purchased from the Necklace Dude after he moves to the capital. You'll find him right here. Spec to 60 Vigor, 65 Endurance, and 80 Strength. Use Morgoth's Great Rune, which increases your health by 25%. The goal with this build is to maximize tankiness while maintaining high damage. The overall build will help you tank hits and stay alive more often. The poise will contribute to the ease of use so that you can land your shots uninterrupted. The build will stagger bosses a lot due to the high poise damage we built into, which works well with Blade of Mercy. However, feel free to change it in either build since it is situational at the end of the day. You could go with a talisman to make you survive more, like Dragoncrest Shield. The Giant Crusher is an incredibly powerful and versatile weapon that can be tailored to fit various playstyles and scenarios. This weapon will not disappoint unless you do not like slow move sets. Then I understand. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see a video showcasing this weapon in one-shot builds. And if you want to check out another build around the best weapon in the game, click the link on the screen right now.